If we've met, I'm Henry. This is a guide to April 2025's energy forecast in categories and timeframes. So it's all about the human rewiring and recalibration, my friends, allowing for soul embodiment or deeper soul embodiment. So, April is not just a continuation, it is really a deepening. If March awakened the intuitive heart, April invites us to live from it. We now stand at a sacred threshold, a space between karmic release and purposeful emergence. With eclipse season behind us and retrogrades beginning to clear, this month is a month of embodiment, integration, and soul led clarity. April arrives at a sacred pause between what has been and what is becoming. Deeply transformative light bridge where self is not simply reconstructed, if you will, but it's really, really consciously being reconstructed. And so, after months of intensity, karmic clearings, and eclipse activations, we're really entering the quiet, more intentional process of soul embodiment. This is not about rushing into the next thing. It's about listening, feeling, and allowing the light truth of who you've become to guide your recreation from the inside out. So, April is arriving like a breath after a storm, an invitation not to rush forward, but to pause, gather, and consciously allowing yourself to be in this, if you will, reconstructed phase of self. So, in truth, this month is a symphony of just reconnecting in some ways, like all the rewords, which is a dance of like revisiting, reimagining, letting yourself refine, restructure, uh, reconstruct, re-envision, reclaim, and really allowing yourself to recenter from everything that we have just moved through. Because following the seismic shifts of recent months, especially the soul stirring eclipses that happened, we are finding ourselves standing in a liminal space, and the old architecture of our identity has loosened, and the familiar no longer fits quite the same. Which means then the mirror reflects fragments, parts of who we were, pieces of who we are becoming, and shimmering glimpses of who we are yet to remember or who we've yet to remember we are. So we're in that space. So this is not a setback, it is sacred ground. In energetic terms, this is the chrysalis moment. This is being in the cocoon, a non-linear stretch in the spiral of becoming where recalibration is not just necessary, it is in you are being, it's in that alchemy aspect. You're an energy, your energy is alchemizing. You're an energy alchemist. So from a cosmic perspective, the astrology of April supports this inner reorganization. Planetary retrogrades, Saturnian discipline, and invitations from the heart-centered realms all echo the same call. Slow down, breathe, review with reverence, mindfulness. And then we are in this reconstruction phase, if you will, this rebuilding with intention. So, with that, we may feel the fatigue of not knowing, the ache of uncertainty, and the mind may crave a clear map or a guaranteed outcome. But the deeper truth, the soul light truth, is that the pause is part of the process. We are not meant to reconstruct from the mind alone, but from the wisdom of the heart, the body, the energetic field that remembers who we are beyond time and trauma. So, this month is a month to reconnect with your vision, not from force, but from flow. Reorganize your internal space before rearranging your external world. Release outdated blueprints and recreate from the frequency of your future self. Refresh your energetic boundaries, rewrite your story with compassion, remember your light, and regather your power. Regather your power and recollect your soul, or allow yourself to reconnect to that soul, if you will. So trust that the pieces will come together, not as they once were, but in a more aligned, luminous way. Let curiosity replace urgency. Let grace override perfectionism. And most of all, let your energy lead the way. This is not just about this aspect of, being in this reconstructed phase of self, or, reclaiming aspects or recentering, if you will. This is really about allowing yourself to reawaken in terms of your light essence. So, this is a reawakening of your light essence. I do also have to acknowledge, y'all, there is a major solar plexus clearing and activation going on. And I have felt it since the end of March. And y'all, I am still in it. I've, definitely been doing the Reiki and dowsing sessions, which has so helped. Meditation has helped a ton, but there's a major clearing and activation. There's also just a huge I've been getting huge downloads in terms of my crown chakra as well. And so if you see me taking like breaths like that, it's because there is a tightness in my solar plexus that, oh my God, it is clearing. And y'all, it's not exactly comfortable. And so that's kind of where we are in my human experience. It's all good. I have the tools. I've been using the tools. But so if you see me just having moments of like, yeah, it's because there's a huge clearing. And I'm going to talk about it in another episode, but I just want to acknowledge that because you might see me doing this, and also because if you're going through this, it's a possibility. We talked about it in the other energy forecast as well. We talked about it in the dowsing we did this weekend. So I will talk about it more though in another episode. All right. So this moment is especially powerful, not just as a monthly reset, but also as an unfolding of major astrological transition, 14 years in the making. 2011, Neptune entered Pisces, initiating a long spiritual deep dive, dissolving illusions, unraveling outdated identities, inviting us into deeper surrender, compassion, intuitive trust. And then over the past decade and a half, we've been slowly but profoundly clearing ancestral imprints, unlearning karmic conditioning, and retrieving long buried soul light truths. Now, with Neptune shifting into Aries which happened at the end of March, and Saturn moving through Pisces alongside the North Node, we are standing at a spiritual culmination point. Since 2011, the lessons of the past 14 years are no longer abstract. They are now the bedrock of what's coming in terms of next. Everything that we faced, released, healed, and redefined becomes the raw materials for our soul-led reconstruction for our humans. So we are in a reconstruction phase in regarding to our human this month. And we're not just emerging from the fog, we are stepping into new ground with clearer vision, anchored presence, and a renewed inner authority. So this initiated a spiritual deep dive, dissolving illusions, unraveling outdated identities, and inviting us into a deeper surrender and inner trust. And so over the past decade and a half, we've been slowly but powerfully clearing ancestral patterns, unlearning karmic conditions, excavating buried soul light truths. So the lessons of the last 14 years are no longer, my friends, abstract, but they are now the foundations for what is next. That is why it is so important to take time to journal, see what is going on. And if you did the meditate with me for the Inspiring You Patreon, we did the whole thing like, what happened 14 years ago? Where are you now? And I got to tell you, I had some huge epiphanies in that meditate with me intention setting retreat that we did at the end of March. Those are some pretty big epiphanies. And so I can't tell you how important it is to contemplate, especially right now at this time when there's so much clearing. So take some time to do that because, you may feel the pieces of your life rearranged by the recent shifts, some still scattered, others beginning to land. That's not a problem to be solved. It's evidence that you're being invited into a more conscious reconstruction of your reality. Rather than rushing to figure it all out, this month offers a sacred pause, a sacred space to pause, reflect, and choose how you want to move forward. The energy of April supports deep reconstructing in multidimensional renewal, not just a mental reframe, but it is a holistic reorganization of how you engage with yourself, others, and the physical world. So, this is a time, my friends, to let go of the outdated, the obligatory, the misaligned, and instead gather only what truly resonates with your next becoming. And also, You don't need to have all the answers, my friends. We're here to learn, grow, and evolve. It is unfolding. So you do not need to have all the answers. And you only need to trust the subtle guidance rising from within. And yes, the nervous system, let's talk about the nervous system. The nervous system may still feel tender. The path is still undefined, but you are no longer in the unraveling per se. There is still clearing happening, but it's not as much as the unraveling. You're in the reassembly. You're in the reassembly mode. So you're not returning to who you were. You're reconstructing from a deeper place of knowingness. So as old timelines dissolve and new ones begin to hum with potential, I'm going to say light potential. This is your invitation, my friends, to rebuild, reconstruct, allowing yourself to reconstruct your life on the foundations of resonance, presence, groundedness, love, joy, peace, harmony. And you have now the opportunity to create from wisdom rather than wounding, from vision rather than reaction. So, again, April is not just about moving forward. It is about reconstructing with presence, care, and clarity. We are finding ourselves standing in that sacred pause, no longer defined by what we released, yet still shaping what's emerging. This month serves as a powerful light bridge, a place between the dissolving of the old and the anchoring of a more soul aligned reality. It's an invitation to engage in an artful reconstruction of self, to gently gather the scattered pieces of who you've become, and to choose consciously what will travel with you and what will be laid to rest. So the energies of March initiated this deep karmic clearing and soul excavation. And what's left behind what's left behind is not emptiness, but it's raw potential. And we're now called to gather. We're now called to reimagine and reconfigure our inner and outer lives, not out of urgency, but with the reverence for the light truths we've uncovered. And you might still be uncovering. The old templates no longer apply. What's required now is a spacious, heart centered commitment to recreation rooted in authenticity, embodiment, and trust. So, this is the time to tend to your inner architecture, to listen closely to the soft language of the body, the wisdom of the heart, the subtle whispers of your higher self soul. You're not simply in that reconstruction phase, but you are remembering who you truly are and giving yourself full permission to build from that remembering. And also, it's normal if clarity hasn't crystallized. The way forward isn't linear. Think of it as an energetic mosaic making where you're choosing the pieces that still hold resonance, discarding what belongs to old versions of you, and inviting in entirely new frequencies to take form. So it's an energetic mosaic making piece. You are making art, my friends. You are truly an artist. You are an energy alchemist artist, my friends. That's right. So that's where you are. Let yourself slow down. Let integration be sacred. This is not the time to rush toward resolution. This is time to trust the reconstruction process and allow your light truth to take shape at a soul level. In the cycle where healing ancestral narratives, dissolving outdated timelines, anchoring into the earth with a new kind of presence. The foundation you're building now is not just for this chapter, it's for the future self that's calling you forward. The path ahead is not with certainty, but with alignment. You don't have to know the whole map to take the next step. What matters is that you're building it with intention, with harmony, love, care, joy, and light. And you're trusting in that knowingness. You know, when I was a kid, when I was around 5 years old, I was having a conversation with my guides and we were talking about my future, and it came in, a deep sense of knowingness came in, and I had a whole discussion with them that one day I was going to move to California and work in television. Obviously I was 5 years old. So it was in a 5-year-old terms, but I had this deep sense of knowingness. One day I'm going to move. I was naming it Hollywood. One day I'm going to move to Hollywood. and I'm going to work in TV. And I just had this deep sense of knowingness that really drove me, all through schooling. And then once I got out here, another level of that really opened up for me to understand where my path was going. So you don't need to know all the whole map to take the next steps. You might even have just a glimmer. And so that's where you have to really trust and really understand when you're getting that knowingness, that knowingness is supporting you in terms of moving forward. So April holds the energy of sacred architecture. You are the builder now, but your blueprints are coming from your intuition, your higher self soul, your divine blueprint that is connected to your higher self soul, that is then in connection with your human. And so this is then your embodied wisdom and your heart's truth. We're not going back. We're not rushing ahead. We're meeting ourselves fully in the in between where reconfiguration becomes revelation. So this month is a month to honor the pieces you've let go without needing to rebuild or reconstruct in their exact shape. Recognize that what once felt like falling apart was really falling into alignment. Begin constructing your life from a space of light essence, not your conditioning. I'm going to repeat that. Begin constructing your life from your light essence, not your conditioning. Stay grounded in the present moment while remaining open to the light frequencies of your future self. And what you're anchoring now is not built from urgency. It's built from energetic coherence, from listening to the body, tending to the nervous system, and discerning which voices, inner and outer, truly serve your highest path. And if you are in the Inspiring You Patreon, the Meditate with Me All Access levels, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have been doing Tuesday Tool Day, Thursday Integration. We started doing that last month when the guides suggested doing, nervous system, somatic tools, as well as any energy work layered in there, as well as intention setting. And so we are continuing that in April as well, which one of the energy themes in April specifically is about the nervous system. So it's really been interesting once again to see how the guides, are often downloading us with information, months before in preparation for a theme coming in. And so it's been just really interesting. And so anyway, if you're part of that, we have our class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you'd like to be a part of it, you can check out the link in the show notes or in the link tree, wherever you are listening to or watching this. All right. So with this, then, just remembering that also, the body remembers, the earth remembers, and now you are remembering, or you remember. You remember who you are beyond the pattern, beyond the projection, beyond the past. And April is a sacred passage, a time to reconstruct, not just structures, but from soul alignment. And you're not lost. You're being reformed with love, with wisdom, with light. So let the reconstruction begin. Let this month be the month you move with mindful presence, sacred pause, and soulful intention. You're not starting over, you're beginning again, and this time from light truth. All right, so this is how it's broken down in terms of categories. Categories in terms of you personally, the sacred art of reconstructing the self, which is also one of the 9 energy themes of the month as well. Again, if you want to listen to that, it's one of the previous episodes. Okay. So this means then you stand at a sacred threshold, one that offers not just a reset, but a reweaving of who you are becoming. This is not about fixing what's broken. It's about honoring what has served, what has supported, releasing what no longer resonates, and courageously choosing what feels most true to your evolving self. So this month brings powerful invitation to reset. It doesn't have to be a massive overhaul. Even one small intentional shift can create a ripple effect of transformation. The key is tuning into your emotional intuition. Trust what feels aligned. As you reconstruct this phase, as you regroup, reassess, be discerning about what stays, what evolves, and what needs to be released. So transformation really announces itself with fanfare. Sometimes the most profound shifts begin with the smallest choice: rearranging your space, changing one habit, speaking one's light truth, or finally letting go of what you've long outgrown. These acts are not trivial, they are rituals of rebirth. Listen closely to your emotional body. It carries the wisdom of what is ready to be reconstructed and what is meant to be surrendered. So, as your energetic field recalibrates, your nervous system may also be more sensitive, your heart more tender. Boundaries will be essential, not as walls, but as sacred containers for your healing and expansion. So, others may not understand your process. That's okay. You're not here to explain your evolution to everyone, you're here to embody it. Remember, the energy of deep change can stir survival patterns, not just in you, but in those around you. If others respond with resistance, projection, or fear, stay rooted in your light truth with, and you can still use mindfulness, loving kindness, care. You don't need to explain or justify your process. Just keep using your mindfulness tools and compassion for you and others. In times of deep reconstruction, which is what we're in, solitude can also become sacred. Did you see me just take another breath, everybody? Whew, that solar plexus. I mean, y'all. Tomorrow in the Meditate with Me class, we are going to be focusing in on the solar plexus. Um, okay, so solitude can be sacred. While community can offer nourishment, the most pivotal choices must be made in stillness by you, with you, for you. Don't dilute your becoming by comparing it to someone else's path. This is your frequency to follow, your rhythm to honor. Anchor into light presence. Tune into your body, let your physical world reflect your internal landscape. And if the next path isn't clear, begin with what is. Tend to your environment, your nourishment, your rest. Action rooted in authenticity, no matter how small, is still movement forward. So, community can be supportive, but when you're deep in your own inner work, comparison and external noise can become distractions. So, stay connected but centered. Use your tools and let this time be a time of grace, not pressure. Be present, be intentional, let your physical world reflect the inner changes you've integrated. And if you are unsure of your next big move, start small. Shift your space, your routine, your habits, anything that honors the energy of becoming. This is also a beautiful time to reflect on all you've lived through, all the wisdom, the gifts, and growth you've gathered. You've come so far, my friends. So acknowledge it, celebrate it. This is a really powerful time to sit with your life as a sacred mosaic. Each piece, a memory, a lesson, a moment of grace or grit. And as you sit with the pieces of your life, ask your heart. Here are some reflection questions. Ask your heart, what do I no longer need to carry? Because this is you sifting through these pieces of your mosaic. What pieces from the mosaic do I no longer need to carry? What pieces of the mosaic do I no longer need to carry? What light truth am I ready to live more fully? What light truth am I ready to live more fully? What new structure wants to be born through me? What new structure wants to be born through me? So, those are some questions that you can take time to answer. Let this reconstruction be intentional. Let it be reverent. Let it be yours. You are not reconstructing who you once were. You are creating a space for the luminous self who has been waiting to emerge. So, let your answers shape your next step. Let them be rooted in soul, light, truth. Okay, the next category is relationships. Recalibrating connections. This month is all about recalibrating. Recalibrating connections through the lens of soul light truth. This month offers a sacred invitation to reflect on the connections in your life with others and, most importantly, with yourself. Depending on the dynamics and karmic threads at play, relationships may either feel deeply rewarding or quietly challenging. Both experiences are valid. You are multidimensional. You can be in many experiences at once. This morning, I woke up, I was having a huge download of just information download, light information download, going to my crown chakra. I was in multiple places at once and I was like, holy moly. And then all of a sudden, the guides brought me to one of my clients' children's school. And as we're walking around the school, the guides were like, the land needs a clearing. This and then it will then also then it will clear the school. This is what's going on with this land, and it's time. And so I had this huge download of information from my client, and who's also, it's actually somebody who's in one of the Reiki groups. And and it just, and at the same time I was there, and then I was three other places. And then I was still in my present experience, my laying in my bed, waking up with this huge, massive download to my crown chakra. Um, yeah, so you can be in many things at once, my friends. You're multidimensional. And so really learning how to work with these dynamics, even within the relationship with yourself or others. And so with this then, and talking about relationships, recalibrating connections through the lens of soul truth, just know that this whole month is just offering this really deep, deep invitation to reflect on the connections in your life. But it's really with others, but really with yourself. And depending on those dynamics and karmic threads at play, relationships may feel either deeply rewarding or quietly challenging. And both experiences, like I already mentioned, are valid. We're multidimensional. You can be in one more thing at once. And all of this is serving a larger purpose of your evolution. And you may not have all the information right away. Like that information that I was telling you about my client, there were some of the specs of information a while back. She had asked for Reiki to be sent for something. And I had got some information, but it was kind of cloudy. And then when the guides were walking me through the school today, it was an energetic walk and talk. Um, they said now, because of what's being cleared, Earth is ready for this clearing. And so it's just timing. Whereas some months before, there were things that were showing up that were showing you that there was something going on in this place, but it wasn't fully time for the clearing to happen. And that sometimes can happen. So with this then, we are entering a new cycle, one that calls for gentle yet clear upgrades in all areas of physical life, including the ways we relate and connect. The energetic field is shifting, and as your inner world realigns, certain relationship dynamics may begin to feel out of sync. What once felt supportive may now feel restrictive. It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's the business of business, my friends. And you can still bring love and kindness and compassion to the relationships, in terms of if something is coming to completion, grateful for what you learned, and also then being in harmony in terms of using mindfulness in regard to talking to a person. So, what once brought safety may now feel like a quiet dissonance in the body. If something no longer resonates, you feel it viscerally, intuitively, unmistakably. If you do muscle testing, you can do muscle testing where if something feels, generally speaking, a lot of times if your body goes forward, that's a yes. And then if your body goes backwards, that's a no. Sometimes it could be opposite, but usually that's kind of, because your body, if it's a no, like, oh, I'm not going there, your body's letting you know that's muscle testing. And so your body is information. And so check in to see, what once felt supportive may now feel restrictive. How does your body feel? What's once brought safety may now feel like a quiet dissonance in the body. How does your body feel? If something no longer resonates, you feel it. See what's going on with your body. See what your body's giving you in terms of information. It's letting you know viscerally, intuitively, unmistakably. And this is not a call for abrupt endings, but rather a mindful recalibration as an opportunity to ask yourself, here are some reflection questions. What am I holding on to out of habit or fear? What am I holding on to out of habit or fear? I think my Boston accent just came out there too. Y'all, this solar plexus clearing and activation is no joke. So, because it's your seat of your willpower. So it's like, oh my God, Yeah. Anyway, and I did turn on Reiki before I did this. So if you want to receive Reiki, just say yes. I'd like to see Reiki from my highest good, and Reiki can be sent. Let me just put Reiki in my stomach for a second, just to. Okay. All right. So relate. So again, the questions are: what am I holding on to out of habit or fear? What am I holding on to out of habit or fear? And what would it feel like to create space for truly nourishes my soul right now? What would it feel like to create space for what truly nourishes my soul right now? Those are the questions to answer for this part. Relationships this month act as a sacred mirrors. They kind of always do, but more so this month, reflecting not only who we are, but who we are becoming. Who we are becoming. As we move through the threshold of inner reconstruction, the relational field around us begins to reorganize. The energy of April does not support pretending, performing, or placating. I am not pretending when I'm telling you about what it feels like in terms of my stomach and my solar plexus. Whew. It calls for authenticity, resonance, and a return to soul aligned connection. This is not a time for bypassing emotional truth. It is if a dynamic in your life has been dimming your light, distorting your voice, or compromising your sovereignty, the dissonance will become impossible to ignore. The frequency you now carry no longer fits the old roles you've been playing. And that's the point. You are evolving, and your relationships must evolve with you or fall away with grace, compassion, and mindfulness. If you speak your, if speaking, if speaking your light truth feels maybe risky, remember that you're honoring your inner clarity is an act of self respect and self love. Be prepared for others sometimes to meet you with resistance, misunderstanding, or even projection. So lean into using communication tools, mindfulness, and compassion. And as hard and sad as this can be, not everyone is meant to walk with you through the next chapter. And I know that can be so hard, and loss and grief can come up. Been there, done it. There has been some amazing people in my life that I really just loved having friendships with them. And then we were at a crossroads, and I went left and they went right. And in the human experience, it can be really sad. It can be really sad. Not everyone is meant to walk with you through the next chapter as much as you want it to be. So let yourself process the emotions, use tools, reach out for support if you need it. And trust that clarity arising now is not loss, it's alignment. So, if you've been navigating relationships that ask you to compromise your integrity, silence your creativity, or sacrifice your freedom to belong, this month may also gently or not so gently illuminate that misalignment. The energy supports compassionate honesty. That might mean setting new boundaries, renegotiating emotional contracts, or simply naming what's true for you, even if others don't fully understand it, which I know it can be really hard. But we can all be at different spaces in terms of consciousness too, or realization. And it's not right, wrong, good or bad. It's the business of business. So I know that can be really hard though, because when you're having conversations, you want people to understand, what you're talking about, but they may not be there yet or be ready to hear you. And so that's why using compassionate tools for yourself and others, and just creating the healthy boundaries as you need to. Remember, remember, living in alignment with your inner light truth doesn't mean you're pushing away others. It means you're coming home to yourself. And from that space, deeper and more reciprocal connections can grow. I'm having a moment right now, y'all, where all of a sudden I just connected into like my future self, where I already did this podcast episode, and I just had a moment of like, wait a minute, I'm in the presence of doing it. I got to tell you, this whole timeline stuff right now and the whole connecting to your future self. I've talked about it last month, and this month there's two energy themes that are connected to how our psychic abilities are opening up even more, so telepathic abilities. I got to tell you, there's definitely moments where I'm like, wait, where am I in the present moment? Because I saw a glimpse of the deja vu from my future self into my present self that I've already done this and it was so strong and I'm like, "No, wait, I'm actually doing it now." If that makes sense. A couple of my clients have also been talking about this, so if they listen to this, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's been so confusing sometimes. This whole multidimensional thing is amazing in a lot of ways, but sometimes there's just moments like, "Wait, what's going on?" My solar plexus, it feels like it just feels tight and it feels like someone is, like, sucker punching you. I have did Kundalini yoga and meditation today. I've done Reiki and dowsing. And the guys just say, patience, patience, patience. And I can feel it in my throat chakra as well. I mean, there is a huge activation going on, huge clearing and activation. All right. So, my friends, with all of this, though, like I said, you know, it's all about then remember living in alignment with your inner truth doesn't always mean you're pushing away others. It means you're coming home to yourself. And with all of this, though, there's beauty here. This same energy that reveals the misaligned will also draw in the destined. I'm going to say that once more. This same energy that reveals the misaligned will also draw in the destined. New relationships, soul allies, collaborations, heart led connections are waiting to emerge. So stay open to unexpected resonance. Those who see you clearly, those who feel like a homecoming, those who nourish the version of you that is just now coming to life. So, this is a fertile period for heart opening experiences, new or renewed connections. Those that feel familiar in a soul deep way may emerge. These bonds carry different texture. They meet you where you are now, not who you once were. Be open to what arrives with softness, clarity, and resonance, and gently notice your relationship with yourself. And as aspects of your identity recalibrate, your inner landscape is shifting too. You may then sense new desires rising, fresh clarity about what you need in order to feel seen, safe, whole. Let this awareness, my friends, be met with kindness. This month, the relationships are not just external dynamics, they are sacred reflections of your own becoming. Whether you're releasing, renewing, or beginning again, allow every interaction to be guided by presence, compassion, and the wisdom of your evolving heart. And don't forget, your most foundational relationship is the one you hold with yourself. As pieces of your identity shift and rise into view, you may encounter new desires, motivations, and ways of expressing love. Honor what's changing within you. Let your inner relationship deepen. Let your self intimacy expand. So here are some more reflection questions for this category. What am I no longer willing to tolerate in love or connection? What am I no longer willing to tolerate in love or connection? What does my soul need to feel seen, held, and honored in a relationship? What does my soul need to feel seen, held, and honored in a relationship? Am I showing up for myself the way I want others to? Whoo-wee, that's a good one. Am I showing up for myself the way I want others to? So take some time to answer those. And let April be the month where love becomes sacred truth, not performance. Not performance, y'all. Where relationships become soul reflections, not obligations, where you are choosing connection not from fear of losing, but from devotion to becoming. All right, next category, health and physical body. Rewiring the temple for higher light. That's what's going on, people. We are rewiring the temple for higher light. The body is not just a vessel, it is a sacred bridge between form and frequency. A living altar where soul wisdom is remembered and embodied. And yet, for many, this is the hardest place to release. Why? Because our beliefs about health, vitality, aging, and ability have been conditioned over lifetimes, imprinted by linear time, inherited limitation, and external authority. This month, though, my friends, you are being invited into radical reorientation. This is a major reconstruction phase to see your body not as something to manage or fix, but as a conscious collaborator in your spiritual evolution. Of all the places we are invited to shift this month, the body may be the most tender terrain. That's because our beliefs around health, physical, emotional, mental, subtle, energetic, subtle, cellular bodies have shaped by generations of programming. We have been taught to define our limits through diagnosis, timelines, cultural narratives about what is normal, possible, or permanent. The body has mirrored those beliefs back to us. It has reflected our perceived ceilings of energy, ability, and worthiness. But it is the new energetic cycle we're being called to reconsider now. Here are the questions. What if the body is not bound by those old blueprints? What if the body is not bound by those old blueprints? What if it's more malleable, more intelligent, more alive than we've been taught to believe? What if the body is more malleable, more intelligent, more alive than we've been taught to believe? So, as we cross into a new energetic cycle, the old templates are dissolving. What your body once struggled to do may now be possible. What once felt heavy or sluggish may be ready to be transmuted if given the space and support to do so. You are not static. You are not your diagnosis. You are not bound to the stories that were spoken over you in moments of vulnerability. Now is the time to invite your physical self into a new experience, not through pressure, but through presence. Choose one area of your daily rhythm and experiment with a fresh, supportive pattern. You might shift your morning routine, try new movement practice, explore nourishing foods, or gently adjust your sleep cycles. What matters is not perfection, but novelty, giving your body permission to engage with life from a new, life affirming place. Let this be a season of curiosity, not rigidity, of gentle trial, not self judgment. You're not fixing your body. You're not forging a new relationship with it, one built on reverence. You're not fixing your body. You're forging a new relationship with it, one built on reverence, openness, and trust in its capacity to adapt, evolve, and hold more of your light. Your body is infinitely intelligent. So let yourself work with your body. This is a month to invite your body into co creation, not through force or perfectionism, but through sacred experimentation. Try something different, disrupt the old rhythms, whether it is, like I mentioned, a new movement practice, a shift in nourishment, try a different sleep cycle, engage in somatic healing, do yoga, do energy work, whatever it is. Allow yourself to step outside the script of what's normal or what you've been doing and discover what's truly aligned now. Sometimes the shift begins with something simple. Breath work in the morning, maybe taking a different path on a walk, stretching in silence, whispering words of gratitude to your heart, maybe to your knees, to your shoulders, to your lungs. Talk to your body. Tell your body you love your body. Say hello to your shoulders, your hands, your knees. Attune to its intelligence, not just through symptoms, but through sensation, through meditation, through energy work, through really tuning in and hearing, going into the silence and stillness. Your cells are listening. Your tissues are responding to your energy and intention. When you begin to treat the body as a wise participant in your evolution, not just as a mechanical shell, you open up new portals of possibilities. Remember, your body has been your protector, your messenger, your ground. It has absorbed not just your own energy, but ancestral imprints, societal expectations, and collective stress. And now it's being asked to be rewired, not only physically, but energetically. Clear old imprint, clear old imprints, release limiting beliefs, integrate loving attention. Whether you've been navigating chronic fatigue, emotional exhaustion, or if you're in menopause like me, tension, or if you're in resistance, whatever it is, let this month be a month where you soften into your body with reverence and begin to forge a new relationship, one based not in judgment, but in devotion. The body is ready to evolve. Will you meet the body in that becoming? So let April be a turning point where healing becomes not a task to complete, but a sacred process of reconnection, where your physicality becomes not a limit, but a luminous landscape for soul embodiment, where each breath becomes a prayer of renewal and every choice becomes a vote for vitality, vibrancy, and efficiency. You are truly reconstructing from the inside out. Let your body be the temple that houses the light you came here to hold. And also, if you are a dowser, if you do dowsing energy sessions as well, I did just put out the dowsing energy protocol for the April energy forecast. That is in the Inspiring You Patreon. So that can support you as well to ask questions, and also the whole protocols in there as well that we just did this Saturday. All right. So that's for the all access level. Okay. The next category is business partnerships and projects, recalibrating purpose, integrity, and soul led vision. Y'all, this is a pivotal moment to consciously restructure how you move through the world of work, creation, and collaboration. The energy of April invites you to reevaluate your commitments, not just in terms of productivity or profit, but through the lens of alignment and also your soul resonance, and in terms of just real nourishment, in terms of balancing of giving and receiving as well. So, what you choose to build now must reflect your evolving values. The old models of success rooted in burnout, obligation, or survival based striving are dissolving. In their place, a new blueprint is forming, one guided by purpose, energy coherence, and heart based contribution. This may mean walking away from structures or agreements that once provided a sense of safety but now feel misaligned. It may mean saying yes to something expansive and unknown, even if the material rewards aren't fully visible yet. The soul recognizing resonance before the world offers validation. Courage will be your compass. It takes courage to let go of partnerships that no longer inspire growth. It takes courage to trust inner. It takes courage to trust an inner vision that your logical mind is still catching up to. It takes courage to stay rooted in presence as new opportunities begin to reveal themselves, often quietly, subtly, and through synchronicity. Let the energy speak. If a project or partnership feels heavy, stalled, or energetically unsupported, listen. If something feels light, inspiring, or quietly electric, explore it. The universe is communicating through sensation, ease, and resistance. Honor what your body and field are telling you. In all the collaborations, clarity matters. Be with those whose frequency aligns with yours, those who share your values, your vision, your commitment to conscious evolution. It doesn't mean you're always going to agree. And it also doesn't mean that you're not going to also have some differences. But it's the commitment to conscious evolution and mindfulness that is really something that you want to take note of. Because this isn't just about being on the same page in business, it's about moving in terms of the similar aspects in terms of spirituality, spiritual chapters. So if it's time to lovingly close a chapter with somebody, do it with loving kindness, reverence, and compassion and mindfulness. Endings need not to be battles or big drama scenes. They can be sacred transitions. Offer gratitude for what was shared, release with grace, and trust that all redirections are in service to greater alignment. Be mindful of your resources this month. Your time, energy, money, and attention are precious currencies. Invest only where there is resonance. Create where there is joy. Partner only where there is receptive, where you both are able to be reciprocal aspects in terms of giving and receiving. And remember, this is more than business. It's an energetic architecture. What you are now co-creating with the universe now has the potential to serve not just your success, but also your soul. All right, the next category is environment, tending the sacred spaces within and around you. The environment, both inner and outer, continues to reflect the great rebalancing underway. Earth is speaking through elemental shifts, sudden weather events, and the growing pulse of transformation. These movements remind us of humbling truth. We are not here to control nature. We are here to listen, to respect, and to consciously coexist. We're literally in Mother Earth's body. You may have heard me say, like, I call it like this, we're in a snow globe. We're literally in the snow globe. And so Mother Earth wants to shake her globe. We're like one of the specks of snow in the snow globe that's being shaken. It's her body, her choice. So, what you can influence now is the energy of your personal space, your home, your body, your emotional field, your energetic imprint. In a time when the collective feels sometimes unstable, your sacred environments become your anchor. They are your sacred altars where you return to presence. So, this month calls for intentional recalibration. Begin with the tangible, clear the corners, sweep the forgotten spaces, open the windows, let the stale frequencies be replaced with breath and light. Don't underestimate the spiritual power of a thorough, clean, and lovingly rearranged space. Energy lingers, it can get stuck in objects, walls, neglected piles, and as you move physical matter, you move energetic matter. As I mentioned earlier, I was shown this space that a school is on the land and how there's pockets of stuck energy and it was causing a real dullness in terms of the electromagnetic field that then isn't allowing enough grounding energy to move through, and so there's a lot of ungroundedness happening throughout the school. And then I later found out from my friend who's also a client and also who does energy work. I gave the information and my friend said, "Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on in that school," which now it makes sense from what you said. Because when there's a lot of ungrounding, there can be a lot of aspects. There can be irritation. There can just feel people can feel just woozy. There's a lot of things can happen. So anyway, back to the environment. Let yourself move some stuff around your house. Or if you do energy work, do an energy clearing too in your space. And just remember what you've been tolerating in your environment. What have you been tolerating in your environment that subtly drains your energy? What unfinished task, cluttered corner, or stagnant room has been calling for attention? Bring presence to those places. Often it's in the quiet care of our space that clarity begins to rise. So invite freshness into your surroundings, whether it's with however it looks. You could even bring new plants in or maybe different colors in that reflect your emerging self. The outer mirrors the inner. So as you reset your space, you reset your vibration. It supports you. And remember, environment isn't just physical, it's energetic. It includes your digital world, your conversations, your work atmosphere, your community, even the news you consume. Be discerning. Here's a question. Is the environment helping me expand into who I'm becoming? Or is it pulling me back into who I've outgrown? So, is your environment helping you expand into who you are becoming? Or is it pulling you back into who you've outgrown? There was a moment this weekend where our internet went out for a good portion of the day on Saturday, like good portion of the day. And I was like, "Oh, wow." I mean, it was like a real moment that I was like, "Oh, what do I do? I can't go online." And for the first like bit, I tried to keep going online and I was like, "It's not working." And then finally I was like, "Oh, it's an opportunity just to do a retreat." And so I did some meditation and it ended up being quite nice to have a different experience in the day. So, release, my friends, let yourself release and let yourself you know, just make changes that are going to support you where you are now, because there will be environments you can change and some you can only witness. So release the need to control what's not yours to shift. Practice energetic boundaries with grace, anchor your own vibration, and let that be the contribution that you offer to the collective field. This is the sacred art of environmental stewardship, if you will, tending not to just things, but to energy, clearing space, not just for aesthetics, but for soul, for your human. So let your environments reflect the frequency you are stepping into. Let it hold you with peace. Let it remind you that even in a world of chaos, you can cultivate joy, peace, harmony, beauty, resonance, calm, one conscious space at a time. All right. So here is, in terms of the mini energy updates that we do for April 1st through the 7th. We are on the 7th right now as I'm doing this. So I actually already did this in a previous episode. So I am actually going to skip this one and go right to the next week. But if you are interested in the theme from April 1st to here's the dates from April 1st to April 7th, it was about integration, emotional truth, and soul level alignment. And so moving from that now to April 8th through the 15th, it's about sacred boundaries, practical alignment, reconfiguring what's yours. And so this week then brings a powerful invitation to clarify the energetic boundaries of your becoming. As the dust of recent inner clearing begins to settle, your system may naturally feel more sensitive, more attuned to what supports you and what no longer does. So you may find yourself instinctively protecting your energy, drawing lines around your time, your focus, your heart. This is not about withdrawal, it's wisdom. You are learning to become a conscious steward of your sacred container. And with that comes discernment. Not everything deserves your access. Not everyone can walk with you into the next chapter of your evolution. There's a practicality woven through this week's cosmic landscape. A sense of momentum is beginning to build, not as a forceful push, but as a grounded readiness. You may feel inspired, my friends, to create a new structure, shift dynamics in your relationships, or take deliberate action around what matters most. Strategy and intuition are working in harmony now. So listen for both, my friends. At the same time, my friends, the universe is whispering, offering signs, synchronicities, subtle confirmations to help you navigate the way forward. Pay attention to the nudges, the dream you can't shake, the phrase that echoes in your mind, the moment of clarity that arrives out of nowhere. Presence is your portal to guidance. Don't miss the messages by being too busy to hear them. If boundaries are being tested, yours or someone else's, remember, this is not about rejection, it's about recalibration. Others may react to your truth just as you may feel unsettled by theirs. And so, with this, use your tools, my friends. Breathe, stay grounded. Let each person have their own path, their own pace. This is not a time to compare journeys or question your own timing. What matters most now is that you stay connected to your center. Tend to your own lane. Let your choices be shaped by inner resonance, not outer noise. And this is a week, my friends, to really begin gently gathering the pieces of your energy, your focus, your desires, and allowing them to rearrange into a new soul aligned configuration. Not everything from the past belongs in your future, and that's okay. Here are the questions to ask. Where do I need to reinforce my sacred container without guilt? So, where do I need to reinforce my sacred container without guilt? What relationships or patterns are asking to be restructured or released? What relationships or patterns are asking to be restructured or released? What quiet wisdom is my intuition offering me today? What quiet wisdom is my intuition offering me today? So take some time to reflect on those questions. And then also this week is the full moon in Libra. That is Saturday, April 12th. And the theme is all about sacred reflection, emotional equilibrium, and heart led responsibility. So this Libra full moon arrives as a radiant mirror, soft yet uncompromising, illuminating the tension between who we've been and who we are now becoming. Often called the pink moon, this lunation invites us into a sacred pause, not to rush ahead, but to recognize what has shifted, what has healed, and what still longs to be brought into balance. So, with this, then, this full moon carries a frequency of emotional recalibration. Libra, the sign of the scales, governs harmony, not as a fixed state, but as a practice of continuous adjustment. Under this moonlight, you may find yourself called to examine relationships, inner narratives, or personal patterns that have felt out of sync. So, here are some more questions. Ask yourself gently, without judgment, in mindfulness and compassion, where am I giving too much or withholding what's true? Where am I giving too much or withholding what's true? What within me is still seeking harmony through external control? What within me is still seeking harmony through external control? What part of my life is longing to be honored, held, or released? What part of my life is longing to be honored, held, or released? So, this energy may feel charged. Tensions, especially those that have lingered unspoken, may rise to the surface. This is not a failure of your spiritual path, it is a part of the clearing. When emotions stir, respond with breath, not reactivity. Use your tools, allow movement, not projection. Channel any restlessness into creative expression, movement, or prayer, meditation, yoga, take nature walks. Let your body become the vessel through which stagnant energy is transmuted into clarity. This lunation is also deeply karmic, linking back to the eclipse quarter of March. If old patterns of unresolved relational dynamic surface, now view them as sacred echoes, offering one more opportunity to meet them with new awareness and choice. Your task is not to carry the weight of the past, but to bless it, learn from it, and to release what no longer resonates with the life you are consciously choosing. From an energy perspective, the heart and solar plex chakras may especially be activated. That is true for me. Pulling attention toward emotional truth and the reclamation of personal power. This is a beautiful time to clear ancestral entanglements, cut cords of expectation, and reaffirm the energetic agreements you choose to hold moving forward. You're not being asked to be perfect, you're being asked to be present with all of it, the healing, the heartbreak, the wisdom, the becoming. So, this full moon reminds us balance is not the absence of emotion, it's the willingness to sit with it all and still return to center. Healing is not passive, it's a conscious act of presence, self responsibility, and love. And power is not control. It is the grace of it is the grace to choose your energy, your boundaries, and your care, your truth with care. Let me say that again. Power is not control. It is the grace to choose your energy, your boundaries, and your truth with care. Your light truth with care, letting yourself receive that. So let this be an invitation to bow to your own evolution, to bless what brought you here, and to walk forward one breath at a time with heart wide clarity and the courage to live in harmony with your deepest knowing. So, here are some intentions and affirmations for sacred boundaries, practical alignment, and energetic reconfiguration. If you wish to say them with me, either out loud or silently to yourself, you can. I'll also put them in the show notes. Here we go. I protect my energy with love, clarity, and conscious boundaries. I protect my energy with love, clarity, and conscious boundaries. I honor the sacredness of my container and say yes to only what supports my soul. I honor my sacredness of my container and say yes to only what supports my soul. I trust my discernment to guide me through shifting dynamics with grace. I trust my discernment to guide me through shifting dynamics with grace. I welcome practical inspiration and stay open to intuitive signs along the way. I do not take others' reactions personally. I remain anchored in my truth. I do not take others' reactions personally. I remain anchored in my truth. I allow what no longer aligns to fall away, creating space for deeper light truth. I allow what no longer aligns to fall away, creating space for deeper light truth. I'm safe to change, to restructure, and to embody the next expression of my light truth. I'm safe to change, to restructure, and to embody the next expression of my light truth. And then here are some Libra full moon intentions. I release all patterns, roles, and relational dynamics that no longer reflect my light truth. I call in harmony, reciprocal aspects, and clarity in all my connections, beginning with the one I hold with myself. I commit to creating balance in my life by honoring both rest and action, stillness and movement, giving and receiving, and may my choices reflect the peace I seek within. And so it is. So, this week is a powerful threshold, one of reclamation, rooted action, and soul directed discernment. Trust the regrouping, the reconstructing process. Let your boundaries be a form of love. And remember, your alignment is the greatest gift you can offer to yourself in the world right now. All right, April 16th through the 22nd. It's all about anchoring vision, cultivating joy, and embodying new path. So as the energy field begins to stabilize, this week brings a palpable shift, a forward flow that invites clear movement, soul-rooted decision making, and the confidence to step into new directions with grounded purpose. After weeks, even months of emotional excavation and karmic clearing, you may begin to feel renewed sense of clarity rising within, a knowing that doesn't shout but quietly aligns. The fog of old stories lifts, and with it, the emotional weight of outdated wounds may begin to dissolve. You're not just healing, you are reorienting. This is a powerful window for committing to the life you are now ready to live, not just in theory, but in action. Concepts become concrete, visions take form, and there is a momentum here that supports both the inner and outer reconstruction or restructuring of your life. Let your intention move from the ether into embodiment. Speak them out loud, put them on paper, take even one step toward building what you're here to create. The universe meets movement with momentum, and you're not just starting from scratch, you're starting from wisdom. And while this time carries productive energy, it also asks us to remember the sacredness of joy. Pleasure, beauty, laughter, and creativity are not distractions. They are not distractions from the path, they are the path. So I'm going to repeat that. Pleasure, beauty, laughter, and creativity are not distractions from the path, they are the path. They recalibrate the nervous system, they lift the spirit and root you into present with grace. Prioritize what brings you light, what brings you joy. Seek out moments of shared celebration, community, and play and presence. And as you begin to build the next chapter, let your foundation be not only stable, but soul aligned. Craft a life that reflects your values and honors your energy. Let presence guide productivity. Let ease inform inspiring action. Let joy be your North Star. So, here are some integration invitations. Revisit your vision. What is calling to be activated right now? Revisit your vision. What is calling to be activated right now? Create intentional space for joy, dance, laugh, create, connect. Be in community, share your clarity, let others witness your becoming. Trust your energy, move from aligned instinct, not from urgency. Anchor your self worth by honoring what truly nourishes your heart and nervous system. And so here are some journal questions for April 16th through the 22nd. What parts of my past feel like they are finally loosening the grip on me? And how can I honor their release with gratitude? Where in my life do I feel a new sense of clarity or readiness? What next step am I being guided to take from that space? Next question is, how can I bring more joy, play, or pleasure into my daily life as a way of staying grounded and nourished during transformation? What does soul alignment momentum look and feel like in my body? And feeling how can I follow that feeling in my choices this week? And here are some intentions for April 16th through the 22nd, anchoring expansion with heart clarity. You can repeat after me if they resonate with you. I move forward with clarity, courage, and devotion to my soul's truth. I move forward with clarity, courage, and devotion to my soul's truth. I honor the wisdom of my journey and trust that I'm exactly where I need to be. I honor the wisdom of my journey and trust that I'm exactly where I need to be. I release any lingering doubts and align with the momentum that is ready to carry me forward. I release any lingering doubts and align with the momentum that is ready to carry me forward. I welcome play, joy, and creative expression as sacred parts of my healing and embodiment. I welcome play, joy, and creative expression as sacred parts of my healing and embodiment. I allow my body to be a safe and vibrant home for my spirit, tending to its needs with love and intention. I allow my body to be a safe and vibrant home for my spirit, tending to its needs with love and intention. I cultivate community and connection rooted in authenticity, support, and shared vision. I cultivate community and connection rooted in authenticity, support, and shared vision. I plant seeds in my next chapter with presence, confidence, and unwavering self trust. I plant seeds in my next chapter with presence, confidence, and unwavering self trust. I choose to move forward with grounded confidence, trusting that my inner light truth is guiding me toward aligned, inspired action and purposeful creation. I choose to move forward with grounded confidence, trusting that my inner light truth is guiding me toward aligned, inspiring action and purposeful creation. I open myself to joy, community, and sacred play, allowing pleasure to be a healing and anchoring light force in the next chapter of my life. I open myself to joy, community, and sacred play, allowing pleasure to be a healing and anchoring light force in the next chapter of my life. So it is, my friends. So you've cleared the past. Now claim the present with joy, passion, and purpose. The future begins with each conscious breath you take. Let this be a week you stop waiting and start living. Ground the vision, trust the clarity, and build the life that feels true to your soul and human. All right, the final week of April, April 23rd through the 30th, anchoring light truth, living with integrity, and rooting into your new foundation, my friends. Okay, so as April draws to a close, we step into a period that asks for steadiness, clarity, and presence. The energy now is less about searching and more about settling into what has already shifted, choosing to align with your inner knowing and letting that guide your every step. So, this is a week of anchoring, not by clinging, but by clearly aligning with your values and life that you are ready to live. The external world may feel unpredictable and unsettled with waves of collective unrest in financial, political, and global arenas, but rather than reacting, the invitation, my friends, is to respond with grounded awareness. Observe what's moving around you, but remain centered in what's true within you. Within the external noise is a deeper calling. Can you remain grounded in your own values even as the collective shakes? Can you hold steady in love and presence and mindfulness and intuitive knowing when uncertainty swirls around you? This is not about perfection, it is about presence, real presence. You know what matters, you know where your energy is welcome, and you know what no longer resonates. Let that clarity shape your choices. Let it be the compass that directs your next steps. This week offers a mirror. It reflects your capacity to trust your decisions, to honor your energy, and to live from a place of internal authority. There is strength available now, a kind of soul level clarity that reveals exactly where your energy belongs, who belongs beside you, and what actions are aligned with the truth of your being. Resist the urge to rush, fix, or control. Come back to neutral observation, divine neutrality, especially when especially when especially when managing your time, money, and emotional bandwidth. From this grounded space, you're far more capable of making aligned, heart-centered choices that sustain your long-term well-being. So let gratitude be your stabilizer, let beauty be your anchor, let joy and awe be support you in terms of helping you. This is not the time to dilute your truth, your light truth, or compromise your values or to ease somebody else's discomfort. It's time to live fully from the clarity that you've cultivated, to stand rooted in your choices, and to trust that even in the face of disruption, your soul knows exactly the way forward. So you may notice a rising confidence in your convictions and understanding of who you are, what you value, what you no longer have a what no longer has a place in your energetic field. Honor that awareness. It's not about being rigid, but it's about standing firmly in your light truth with flexibility and grace. Financially, this is a time to remain clear and practical. Avoid reactive decisions rooted in fear or pressure. Ground yourself through mindful awareness and choose from your highest perspective. There may be opportunities for growth and movement now, especially if you've been tending your inner and outer world with consistency and care. Let this week be about embodiment, about showing up fully as the person that you've been becoming. It's time to stop waiting for the right moment and instead begin living from the foundation you've built with presence, with integrity, with open heart to what's next. Keep your energy field bright. Anchor through beauty, gratitude, movement, and breath. Let your nervous system be your ally. Let your choices reflect the quiet strength of someone who has walked through the transformation and come home to themselves. April 27th is the Taurus new moon. That's on a Sunday. The super new moon arrives as a sacred pause, a grounding breath after months of energetic intensity rooted in the steady earth energy of Taurus. It offers a powerful portal to plant new intentions, stabilize recent shifts, and nurture what truly matters. It's not about rushing forward, it is about aligning with simplicity, presence, and purpose. This lunar moment anchors you into what feels supportive, sustainable, and soul honoring. As April draws to a close, the energy invites you to move forward with confidence, not by forcing outcomes, but by rooting into what is true for you now. This week is about stabilizing your inner foundation, clarifying your values, holding steady within any external fluctuations. Let your clarity become your compass, your intuition, the rhythm you follow, and your heart, the sacred space from which your next steps rise. Okay, here are the journal questions for April 23rd through the 30th. Where in my life do I now feel a strong sense of clarity or conviction that I didn't before? What beliefs, behaviors, or attachments am I being asked to release so I can fully anchor into what's next? What choices feel aligned with my inner truth, regardless of what others may think or expect? How can I support myself emotionally, physically, and energetically during moments of external instability? Where is my energy most alive and inspired right now? What does living from alignment look like for me today? What practices, spaces, or relationships help keep me grounded in gratitude and trust? I will put all the journal questions in the show notes, so take some time to do them. Here are some intentions and affirmations for this week. Rooted in truth, grounding vision, anchoring clarity, and living aligned. You can repeat them after me if they resonate with you. I choose to stand firmly in my light truth and align my inspiring actions with what I value most. I choose to stand firmly in my light truth and align my inspired actions with what I value most. I remain grounded in my energy even when the world around me feels uncertain. That's a good one. I remain grounded in my energy even when the world around me feels uncertain. I trust my intuition to guide me toward aligned people, spaces, and opportunities. I trust my intuition to guide me toward aligned people, spaces, and opportunities. I tend to my nervous system with kindness, care, and mindful attention. I tend to my nervous system with kindness, care, and mindful attention. I move from clarity, not urgency, and honor my own timing. I move from clarity, not urgency, and honor my own timing. I keep my frequency elevated through gratitude, presence, and self awareness. I keep my frequency elevated through gratitude, presence, and self awareness. I allow my new foundation to take shape through consistent, heart centered choices. I allow my new foundation to take shape through consistent, heart centered choices. And so it is. Take a nice deep breath, my friends. All right, we're going to be coming to the close. So, this month is really a threshold cross, a new light embodied. This month has carried us across a sacred bridge from karmic unraveling to soul rooted embodiment. Each theme, intention, and moment of awareness has asked us to release what no longer reflects our light truth and to choose with courage and care what we are now ready to become. You've shed, you've remembered, you've rebuilt from inside out. Now, as we move into the months ahead, may the clarity that you've gathered become the foundation you walk upon. May your heart stay open, your mind stay curious, and your energy stay attuned to the quiet wisdom guiding yourself home to yourself. You are no longer in a cocoon. You are emerging like the butterfly with presence, purpose, and radiant light, my friends. And so it is. And so it is. So take another deep breath, my friends. All right. So we are going to complete now. Y'all, it is so interesting because when I did the energy forecast for April, y'all, it is 3 hours. And I was perfectly okay to do that. And I tell you, this or so doing this with my solar plexus like there, whoo, it has been challenging. And that's why it's the seat of your willpower. So when somebody doesn't feel like doing something, that's why you have to look at like what's going on with the solar plexus. Is there clearing happening? Is there activations going on? And so to get yourself moving even more so when your solar plexus feels tight like that, it takes more effort to do it. Trust me, before I was relaxing on my couch and I was like, oh, and as I was doing this, it would have been way easier for me just not to record and just be like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it does, because even if one person listens to this information and they get something out of it, maybe it can help them. And so it does matter. And so I call it forklifting when I'm having these moments where I feel like I'm, like, stuck in cement. I call in, like I do an imaginary forklift. I guess it's kind of like a light forklift, where I imagine this giant forklift comes in and forklifts my human out of a space and gets me in motion. I don't know, the imagery just helps me. So I had to forklift myself off the couch, and then as I've been doing this, I'm like, "Oh my god, that solar plexus feels tight." Roar. I'm like, "I can do it, I can do it, I can do it." And so I've been saying to myself, "Can-do attitude," and, calling in my guides to help me, and at one point, Jesus showed up on my right side. He was doing some energy work for me, like, can-do attitude, "Can do. Come on, human, you got this." And that's what you also have to know, like, is it time to rest, or do I need to support myself in forward movement? And there's just a discernment. I rested all mostly today, and so now it was time for some forward movement. But sometimes you have to, as these things are clearing and activating, it sometimes takes a little bit more effort. And so that's why you kind of just have to know that. All right, let's break the links before we go. So say this after me if this resonates with you. I asked to break the links with this mindful chat. I asked to break the links with this Reiki session, leaving only harmony and balance at other ends. I asked to clear any residual energy being held in my body as a result of these links. I ask the light to fill all the void cells, rejuvenates, refreshes, revitalizes for the highest good with ease and grace. And so it is. So it is, my friends. Much, much love. May peace be with you. Until soon, and stay inspired, my friends.